Hey friends, Deja here. Today we're going to talk about highlighting and contouring. Now, have you ever tried this technique and gone into it thinking, oh, I'm going to make this beautiful, I'm going to make this huge change in how I look and my makeup is going to be amazing, and you go from supermodel to Beetlejuice real fast? Yeah, I think it's happened to all of us. So what I'm going to do today for you is I'm going to break down highlighting and contouring. I'm going to make it super simple, and I'm going to have you understanding by the end of this where highlighting goes and where contouring goes. So I'm going to use two different brushes. I'm going to use a blush and I'm going to use a highlighting palette. Let me show you what those look like. My highlighting palette is from NYX. This is one of my favorite highlighting palettes that I've ever run across. It's beautiful on everyone. It's got a tone for everybody. And you might be saying, if you are an individual, Deja, I'm not going to use all those colors on my face. You're right. But the beauty of having a neutral palette is that you can also use it on your eyes as a shadow as well. My blush that I love to use, this is my blush palette. I use this in my kit on my clients, and my favorite one is this one right here. It's called Spring Sheen. It's from MAC. Can't tell it's my favorite, right? And then my two brushes that I'm going to use today, this one right here is a 188 brush from MAC. That's just the style number. Now, if you don't have a MAC brush, that's okay. You just want to use something that's really fluffy. I love this brush because you can use it on cream products. You can also use it on powder products, and you can highlight with both. Today, I'm going to focus on just using the powder products because I feel like it's going to be easier to demonstrate where exactly highlighting and contouring goes. Plus, I on an everyday basis like to use a powder because I feel like it's a little more natural, it's a little quicker for me to do. Now, if you are going into a situation where you have a client that is doing a photo shoot, or if you're going to be taking a lot of pictures yourself, you may want to go ahead and use a cream to highlight and contour and then go over it with the same shade of powder afterwards. But today we're just using the powder products. The second brush I'm using is this brush right here. I love it because it's shaped like a little egg, and it can get into those little tiny places like under your eyes and along your cheekbones really nicely. It's nice and fluffy, and the style number is BRCN42. Let me hold that up. Now, this is from Coastal Scents, which is something you can get online, and it's pretty inexpensive, and I've used this brush for a long time, and it's held up pretty well. So with that being said, let's jump right in and try some technique. Now, when you are looking at yourself in the mirror, you need to know what highlighting means and what contouring means. Basically, when you're highlighting something, you want it to stand out. You want that feature to be accentuated. When you are contouring, you want that to be minimized. So I'm going to show you some hot spots on the face. We'll start with contouring. Okay. So on myself, I'm going to use this shade right here. Usually you want to pick a shade that's about 1 to 2 shades darker than your natural skin tone when you're contouring. If you get into going much darker than that, that's when you go into Beetlejuice territory, and it can get a little scary. So I would say start out with 1 to 2 shades, and if you want to go darker from there, get it. Okay, so I'm going to dip my brush, my 188 brush in there, and I need to look at my face and say, okay, where do I want my feature to recede? So one of the hot spots that a lot of people like to use the contouring on is around their hairline right here, because if you have a bigger forehead, that's going to make this area recess, and it's going to make your forehead look smaller. So you can go just around the outside edge of your face right here. It's almost like a rainbow shape, and do little baby circles, That's gonna blend, blend, blend. The key to highlighting and contouring is definitely blending. You don't wanna see stripes. You don't wanna look like you got spray tanned by a zebra. It's bad, bad, bad. So the next place that I'm gonna look at contouring, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna contour behind my cheekbone. Everybody is gonna be a little different because everybody's bone structure is different. So put your fingers on your face, touch your face, find out where your bones are, and where your hairline meets your cheekbone, that's where you wanna set your brush. Do small little baby circles and bring it down the back side of your cheekbone all the way to where the color in your eye starts. If you bring it out past there, you're going into blush territory, and you don't want to go into blush territory. So just keep little baby circles, bring it down the back of your cheekbone, bring it all the way up into your hairline. I don't lift my brush off my face. I just keep going back and forth. And see how that's creating that really nice blended shadow back there? Again, I'm gonna go back in, darken it up just a little bit. Okay, so another hot spot for highlighting contouring, I should say, is the nose. Know that you do not have to do this step. You don't have to do the forehead step if you don't want to. Usually people do like to do behind their cheekbones unless you have a darker skin tone. If you have a darker skin tone, a lot of times you already have really beautiful natural contours back there, so you don't have to do anything. Lucky you. So going back to the nose, if you have a flatter nose, or if you want to make your nose look slimmer right in this area, then you want to take a smaller brush and you want to go in here and go down the sides of your nose like this. And I don't have anything on my brush because if I if I contoured my nose, I would look like a certain pop star who didn't care if he was black or white. I think we all know who we're talking about. We don't want that to happen. And if you have a smaller nose, or if you have a skinny bridge of your nose, don't do that to yourself. Now, if you want to contour, you can. Just make sure that you're doing it on the sides of your nose in this area right here, behind the nostril, on the side of the bridge of the nose, and make sure you're blending. Because if you look at yourself from the side and you can see where your contour is there, then everybody else is going to be able to see it too. So just make sure you're blending there. Now, the other place that people like to contour is right down here along the jawline. So this is going to make everything recede here. And for people like me, who like to have anything that makes them look a little smaller, then that works out real well. So I'm going to go right under here, and I'm going to start at my earlobe, and I'm going to do little baby circles all the way down underneath, making sure that you're not creating a stripe. That's why it comes in handy to only do 1 to 2 shades darker than your natural skin tone, so that you aren't looking like you have stripes going on. You don't want stripes. It's not good. Okay, so now that I've got my basic contour going on, and those are the hot spots that you want to contour if you want to. If you don't feel like you need to, then you don't. Okay? So next I'm going to go in with the second lightest color because I'm pretty fair, and I am going to take my smaller brush because generally where you're highlighting in those areas are going to be smaller areas, so you want to use a smaller brush. So highlight points on your face are going to be the top of your cheekbone right here. So I'm going to do a little tiny highlight in that area, and just take it all the way back to my hairline, make sure that it's nice and blended. So now I have a nice highlight going on in here. Now I love that there's a yellow shade in here because I'm a little sallow underneath my eyes, and this shade really brightens underneath my eyes. So you can go under here and really highlight in that area. But I didn't want to bring that white color in that area because I don't want to look ghostly underneath my eyes. For people that have a darker skin tone, banana powder from Ben Nye is a really beautiful product to use. So I would definitely try that. So I'm gonna go right under here and just make sure that everything is blended. It's almost like doing like a little V shape under your eye, right in there. Cool. Then right here is a good place to highlight. So I'm gonna highlight right in here. And I'm going back to that lighter color, back to that lighter shade there. Another place is right over the lip. Gives you kind of that pouty lip look. If you're highlighting your nose, you want to make sure you're just going down the bridge of your nose right here. Don't take it all the way to the tip. If you take it all the way to the tip, then it's going to look like you have stripes. So if you're doing anything over the tip of your nose, do your foundation that's the color of your skin, or do your powder that's the color of your skin. Another place people like to highlight is the highest point of your face right here is the chin. Okay. So now that I've got my basic highlight and contour going on, I want to go back in and make sure that my cheeks are nice and warm. So I'm going to use that Spring Sheen color that we talked about earlier. And right at the front part of my cheek, you can even give yourself a smile. Looking a little crazy. I'm doing little baby circles. And I'm just taking it all the way back to where I highlighted and contoured. I'm not covering that. I'm just making sure that all three of those are married together and they're nice and blended. I like to use warmer colors on my cheek. Warmer colors are always super youthful. Can't ever go wrong with warmer colors no matter what skin tone you are. Awesome. Then just check to make sure that you're nice and balanced. You don't want too much on one side, not enough on the other. So that's basically it. The one thing that I think I want anyone to take away from this is just to embrace your own natural features. If you have natural contour, don't add more contour. If you have a naturally skinny nose, you don't have to contour it. If you don't have a big forehead, don't feel like you have to go in there and really carve that forehead out. Now, that's the main thing that I want you guys to embrace, is just embrace your own natural beauty. I think that concludes our tutorial for today. So if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I will definitely answer them for you. Also, please, if you liked everything that I did, like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you next time. Thanks.